You put out the feeder, you fill the bath, and you wait. You do it because a yard alive with the flutter and song of birds feels like a success, a small piece of wildness that has chosen you. But what if the birds that came last spring are gone this year? What if the feeder that was once a flurry of activity now sits quiet? The silence can be unsettling. It's easy to assume the birds have simply moved on. But the truth is often closer to home. The very things you do out of love for wildlife can, in quiet and unseen ways, be driving them away for good. There are 7 major mistakes that can turn a backyard sanctuary into a barren landscape. We will count them down from 7 to 1. And the number 1 mistake, the one we'll save for last, is the one that almost everyone gets wrong. Number 7. A poorly placed or poorly stocked feeder. You've given them a restaurant, but you've placed it in the middle of a war zone. A bird feeder, standing alone in a wide-open lawn with no trees or shrubs nearby, is a buffet of anxiety. Birds are creatures of caution. They are constantly scanning for predators from the sky, like hawks, and from the ground. To them, that open space is a death trap. They need to know they have an escape route. The fix is a matter of feet. Place your feeders about 10 to 12 feet away from natural cover, like a dense shrub or a tree. This is the perfect balance. It's close enough for a bird to make a panicked dash to safety, but far enough away that a predator, like a cat, can't use that same cover to launch a surprise ambush. And what's on the menu matters. Many cheap birdseed mixes are packed with fillers like red millet, oats, and wheat. Most birds won't eat this. They'll spend their precious energy flicking it to the ground, where it attracts pests and can rot. Offering poor quality food or allowing a feeder to sit empty for long stretches sends a clear message. This food source is unreliable. And in a world of survival, unreliable is a risk birds cannot afford to take. But even a perfectly placed feeder, full of high-quality seed, can become a place of terror if you ignore our next mistake. Number 6. Ignoring the threat of predators. A bird's entire existence is a balance of risk and reward, and nothing tips the scales toward risk more than the constant presence of a predator. To a small songbird, your neighborhood is filled with danger. Hawks circle from above, and that is a natural part of the ecosystem. But the most relentless and destructive predator in many backyards is the domestic cat. Even a well-fed cat retains its hunting instinct. Its mere presence, lounging on the patio or slinking along the fence line, creates a zone of profound stress. Birds may see the feeder, but they also see the hunter. The stress hormones that flood their tiny bodies tell them this is not a safe place to eat, not a safe place to rest, and certainly not a safe place to raise a family. Eventually, they will stop coming altogether. The risk simply isn't worth the reward. The solution requires creating a safer environment. Keep your own cats indoors. It's safer for them and for wildlife. Place feeders away from low-hanging branches or fences that cats can use as hunting perches. A simple baffle on the feeder pole can stop them from climbing. You can even create a soft landing for birds by building a brush pile a safe distance away, giving them a dedicated sanctuary to dive into when a predator appears. Protecting birds from visible threats is crucial, but the next mistake is a danger that is completely invisible. Number 5. The cacophony of chronic noise. Take a moment and just listen, not for the bird song, but for everything else. The distant drone of traffic, the whine of a leaf blower next door, the rumble of a lawnmower. To us, this is just background noise. To a bird, it is a constant, stressful roar. Scientific studies have shown that chronic noise pollution elevates stress hormones in birds. It disrupts their communication, making it harder to find mates or warn others of danger. It can mask the subtle sounds of a stalking predator. This constant barrage of man-made sound can reduce their reproductive success and force them to abandon otherwise perfect habitats. Your yard might have the best food and the cleanest water, but if it is an island in a sea of noise, many sensitive species will simply steer clear. While you can't silence the world, you can be mindful of your own acoustic footprint. Try to group your noisiest yard work, like mowing or using power tools, into a single consolidated block of time, rather than spreading it out. In the quiet moments that follow, you might be surprised who returns to fill the silence. Silence is one form of peace. But our next mistake shows how easily a place of refuge can become a source of disease. Number 4. A dirty bird bath. You know that birds need water, not just for drinking, but for bathing. Clean feathers are essential for flight and insulation. A bird bath is a wonderful gift to your feathered neighbors. But a stagnant, dirty bird bath is a time bomb. That murky water, fouled with droppings and debris, is a breeding ground for harmful bacteria and algae. It's the perfect nursery for mosquito larvae, which can transmit deadly diseases like the West Nile virus to birds. The water you offer to sustain life can quickly become a source of death. Birds are instinctively wary of unclean water sources, and if your bath is consistently dirty, they will learn to avoid it. The solution is simple, but requires diligence. The water in your bird bath should be changed every 1 to 2 days, especially in hot weather. It's as simple as dumping the old water and refilling with fresh. Once a week, give the basin a good scrub with a stiff brush to remove algae and slime. You can also add a small solar fountain or a water wiggler. The constant movement not only attracts more birds, who are drawn to the sight and sound of moving water, but it also prevents mosquitoes from laying their eggs. A contaminated bird bath is dangerous, but it pales in comparison to the concentrated danger of our next point. Number 3. The communal plague of a dirty feeder. A popular bird feeder can be a joyous sight, but it can also be a disaster waiting to happen. When dozens of birds congregate in one small area, sharing the same space and the same food source, it becomes the perfect vector for disease. Dirty, unclean feeders are breeding grounds for pathogens. Bacteria like Salmonella and parasites like Trichomonas can spread like wildfire through a local bird population. These diseases are devastating. They cause lethargy, fluffed-up feathers, and an inability to eat. You may see a sick bird lingering at the feeder, too weak to fly away. Diseases like these can cause rapid, widespread die-offs, particularly affecting finches, doves, and sparrows. Your well-intentioned feeder can become the epicenter of an epidemic that wipes out the very birds you hope to help. Cleanliness is not optional. It is a life-saving responsibility. Your feeders should be thoroughly cleaned every 1 to 2 weeks. Take them down. Soak them in a solution of 1 part bleach to 9 parts water. Scrub them clean of all residue. Rinse them thoroughly, and, this is critical, let them dry completely before refilling. A dry environment is hostile to bacteria. It is a small chore that has a massive impact on the health and survival of your local birds. So you've created a safe, quiet, clean space with great food and fresh water. But your yard could still be a desert if you're making the next mistake. Number 2. A poisoned landscape. Look across the modern neighborhood. You see lush, green, uniform lawns, perfectly manicured garden beds, free of weeds. It's an aesthetic we've been taught to value. But to create and maintain this look, many people turn to an arsenal of chemicals. Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. These chemicals are a poison. They don't distinguish between the pests you want to eliminate and the insects that birds need to survive. Spraying for aphids on your roses also kills the caterpillars that a mother chickadee needs to feed her nestlings. Many of these chemicals are directly toxic to birds themselves. A bird that eats a poisoned grub or drinks from a puddle of chemical runoff can get sick and die. Even non-lethal doses can interfere with their ability to reproduce, leading to a slow, silent decline in population. Creating a bird-friendly yard means rethinking your relationship with a perfect lawn. It means choosing life over sterile uniformity. Avoid using broad-spectrum pesticides and herbicides. Tolerate a few weeds. A dandelion is a source of seeds for finches. A patch of clover fixes nitrogen in the soil and provides nectar for pollinators. When you stop blanketing your yard in poison, you allow a complex and beautiful food web to reestablish itself. And the birds will notice. This leads us to the final and most important point. It is the number one reason birds may be abandoning your yard. It's the mistake almost everyone makes, because it is disguised as a beautiful, thriving garden. The number one mistake: planting a green desert. The problem is the plants themselves. Most of our common landscaping choices, the manicured shrubs, the orderly flower beds, the exotic trees from other continents, are essentially useless to our native birds. They are a green desert. Birds have evolved over millions of years alongside the native plants of their region. Their entire life cycle is intertwined with these plants. A native oak tree, for example, can host the caterpillars of over 500 different species of butterflies and moths. A non-native but popular ginkgo tree, by contrast, supports only 5. Why does this matter? Because 96% of terrestrial birds in North America feed insects to their young. A clutch of chickadees needs between 6,000 and 9,000 caterpillars to make it from hatching to leaving the nest. Your feeder full of seeds might help the adult birds, but it does nothing for their babies. If your yard does not produce a staggering number of insects, specifically the caterpillars from native plants, it cannot function as a nursery. It is not a place where birds can successfully raise a family, so they won't even try. The single most powerful thing you can do to bring birds into your yard forever is to plant native plants. Plant native trees, shrubs, and flowers. These are the plants that create the foundation of the food web. They provide the insects for baby birds, the seeds and berries for adults, and the dense, multi-layered cover for shelter and nesting. When you remove a patch of lawn and replace it with a thicket of native berry bushes, you are not just landscaping. You are building a home. You are stocking a pantry. You are creating a future. Transforming your yard from a simple collection of plants into a living, breathing ecosystem is a profound shift. It's a move away from just attracting birds and toward truly supporting them. It's the understanding that a few holes chewed in a leaf are not a sign of failure, but a sign of a successful transfer of energy, a sign of life. By providing these 7 things: safe placement, a predator-aware environment, quiet, clean water, clean feeders, a chemical-free space, and, most importantly, the native plants that form the bedrock of it all, you are doing more than just watching nature. You are participating in it. You are weaving your small patch of land back into the beautiful, complex tapestry of the wild. And the birds will not abandon you. They will arrive, and they will stay. They will be home. Thank you for watching The Backyard Signal.